Nuclear missile is ready for World War III on 15 November 2022, with about 12,700 nuclear warheads spread across 9 countries. The risk of nuclear war is usually present. Though the risk remains low, tensions are running high around the Ukraine war. Poland is a member of NATO, so if the missile strike had been a hostile attack by Russia, it could have triggered a response from the Allies under the Collective Defense Treaty underpinning the transatlantic military alliance, including the United States. The US and Polish leaders had indicated that it was not likely to have been fired by Russia. Please watch till the end if you want to know everything. Welcome to Untold Story Things, and today we will watch that nuclear missile is ready for World War III. Nuclear detonations are the most dangerous radiation emergency. It creates a large, deadly blast. If it detonates on the ground, the explosion can suck material up into the air and make dangerous, sand-like, radioactive particles called fallout. Fallout is the radioactive particles that fall to Earth as a result of a nuclear explosion. It consists of weapon detritus, fission product, and in the case of a ground burst, radiated soil. Fallout particles vary in size from thousandths of a millimeter to many millimeters. A lot of this material falls directly back down, close to ground zero, within several minutes after the explosion, but some travels high into the atmosphere. This material will be spread over the Earth during the subsequent hours, days, and months. Fallout is defined as one of 2 types: early fallout, within the first 24 hours after an explosion, or delayed fallout, which occurs days or years later. Fallout casualties are entirely preventable. Buddemeyer, a health physicist, knowing what to do after an event like this can virtually save hundreds of thousands of people from radiation illness or fatalities. Most of the particles decay rapidly. Even so, beyond the blast radius of the exploding weapons, there would be areas the survivors couldn't enter because of radioactive contamination from long-lived radioactive isotopes like strontium-90 or cesium-137. For the survivors of a nuclear war, this lingering radiation hazard might represent a grave threat for as long as 1 to 5 years after the attack. If you are enjoying this video and find it helpful, subscribe and click on the bell notification so you do not miss out on any opportunities. There are different types of radiation emergencies that fluctuate in how much harm they cause and harm they pose to the public. Some examples of radiation emergencies include a nuclear detonation, an accident at a nuclear power plant, a transportation accident involving a shipment of radioactive materials, or an occupational exposure like in a healthcare or research setting. Whereas the extent of the damage can vary, the steps to shield yourself from radiation are the same. You can keep your family safe by knowing what to do and being prepared if an incident happens. Follow these easy steps. The best way to stay safe in any radiation emergency is to get inside, and stay tuned. Putting material between you and the radiation provides protection while you tune in for directions from responders. During any radiation emergency, follow the radiation protection principles of time, distance, and shielding. Limit your time exposed to radiation, stay as far away as possible from a radioactive supply, and protect yourself from radiation by going deep inside a durable building. If the emergency is outside, get inside. Stay tuned. If warned of the possibility of a radiation hazard, instantly get inside the closest building and move away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside to shield you from the radiation outside. An airburst can produce marginal fallout if the fireball doesn't touch the ground. On the other hand, a nuclear explosion occurring at or near the Earth's surface can result in severe contamination by the radioactive fallout. Most of the radiation hazard from nuclear bursts comes from transient radionuclides external to the body. These are typically confined to the locality downwind of the weapon burst point. This radiation hazard comes from radioactive fission fragments, with half-lives of seconds to a few months, and from soil and other materials in the vicinity of the burst made radioactive by the intense neutron flux. Nuclear weapons are deadly, and after an impact on a major city, tens to hundreds of thousands would probably die. But the worst destruction, where the possibilities of survival are least likely, is confined to a severe damage zone, Buddemeyer said. For a 10-kiloton blast equivalent to 2/3 of the Hiroshima bomb blast, that is about a half-mile radius. There are ways to reinforce your chance of survival in the unlikely scenario a nuclear bomb were to hit your town. There were survivors in Hiroshima within 300 meters 900 feet of the epicenter, Buddemeyer said. How to survive from an imminent attack. If you receive notification of an imminent attack, Your first priority is to seek shelter that may shield you both from bodily harm from the blast and from the radiation and the fallout that will follow. If you are driving, pull over, get out, and make your way into a building, Buttmeyer said. Seek shelter indoors, ideally underground and in a brick or concrete building, for the Red Cross and FEMA. Go as far underground as doable, for the Red Cross and FEMA. If that is not possible, try to stay in the center of the building, for example in a stairwell. The deeper and lower in the building you can get and the farther from windows, doors, and exterior walls, which can cave in, the better your odds. Humans and pets ought to stay inside for at least 24 hours or until instructed otherwise by authorities for the Red Cross. What to do if you are outside when the blast hits? If you are outside, your first priority is to shelter from the blast wave. Take cover behind anything that might shield you and lay flat on the ground and canopy your head, for the Red Cross. Don't assume the blast is past you. It may take up to 30 seconds for the wave to reach you, for the Red Cross. After the blast wave passes, you want to limit exposure to radiation. If you are still outside, cover your mouth with a cloth or a towel, which can reduce the amount of radioactive fallout you breathe in, for the Red Cross. Take shelter as soon as doable, regardless of how far you're from the impact. Radioactive fallout can travel many miles, for the Red Cross. As soon as you're safely inside, remove the outer layer of your clothing. What to do once you have found shelter? If you're outside, you want to get the fallout as far away from your body as possible. An excessive amount of exposure over a short time can harm the body enough to limit its ability to mend itself, fight infection, and perform other functions, leading to a dangerous condition called acute radiation sickness. Typically, about 750 millisieverts of exposure among many hours can make an individual sick. This is often roughly 100 times the amount of natural and medical radiation that an average American receives every year. A 10-kiloton blast can deliver this abundant exposure among a radius of about a mile. Removing your outer layer of clothing can reduce the quantity of contamination from fallout by up to 90th per the Red Cross. If attainable to do so safely, put all the contaminated clothing into a plastic bag that you keep far away from others and pets. The clothes may still be emitting radiation. Wash your hair and skin with water and lots of soap and shampoo. Don't scratch the skin and don't use conditioner, which might bind any of the radioactive material to your hair, per the Red Cross. Gently blow your nose and wash out your ears, where contaminated dirt may be trapped, per the Red Cross. A shower is best. If that is not available, a wet cloth wash will still help, provided the cloth hasn't been outside, per FEMA. If your pet was outdoors, they could also be covered in fallout, which could expose you and them. Gently brush your pet's coat, then wash them with soap and water, per FEMA. If you can, shut windows and fireplaces, turn off fans, air conditioners, and forced air heating units, for the Red Cross. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe.